Most of these top 5 videos tell us that the snakes with the most potent venom are the deadliest, like our buddy here, the inland taipan. But to me that doesn't really make sense. After all, who's he going to be biting out here? There's literally no one around. The truth is that the snakes we'll look at today are the deadliest, despite not being the most venomous overall. Let's find out why, starting with number 5 on our list, the puff adder.
Did you know that the highly venomous puff adder is arguably the fastest striking snake in the world? This snake has long hinged fangs that unfold from the roof of its mouth and fully extend to bite its prey or any potential predator, then fold back into its mouth all within a few milliseconds. The puff adder's strike is so powerful that when viewed in slow motion, we can see how the snake's body often launches completely off the ground while it strikes.
I'd love to hear people's opinions on the fastest striking snake, because people tell me something different every week. People will swear it's a death adder and other people will swear it's a puff adder. Whatever the case, that guy's content is presenting some good information for us there. The puff adder is a very, very fast striking snake, and it's a very well camouflaged snake as well.
Check this out right here. A massive puff adder. Take a look at this snake right here. This is the Bitis arietans, aka the puff adder. This snake is related to the gaboon viper, which means that it has a very similar venom, which is a cytotoxin. Those cytotoxins, if this snake was to inject them into my flesh, it would send me into a clinical cardiac arrest.
So it does look like quite a laid back snake, doesn't it? I can tell you're thinking it looks slow moving, but the information he's presenting on the venom is correct, and we're going to see in a second why this snake is such a problem.
We're out here in Zimbabwe, pretty close to Victoria Falls, and we've been herping throughout the African savanna for the last 3 days. We just found an incredible species of snake that we also have back at the sanctuary, so I really wanted to take the opportunity to show you this animal in the wild. And if you haven't noticed, it's actually right in front of me right now, underneath this pile of leaf litter. We have a puff adder. As you can see, this mottled foresty pattern on the snake allows it to just seamlessly blend into the leaf litter of its environment.
Now that is the problem. They blend in extremely well, they've got excellent camouflage, and they're confident in their camouflage. So often you'll come right up to them, you'll get close to them, and they won't even hiss because they just believe you can't see them. But what happens is you end up stepping on them, and then you get bitten. And they have a very nasty cytotoxic venom which can cause necrosis, and if you don't get antivenom soon enough, it can even cause gangrene. Overall, puff adders, they're a big, hardy, widespread snake with very damaging venom. It will lead to surgery if you don't get antivenom soon enough. And we see these varying estimates. I don't really want to give estimates on annual deaths from snake bite in this video because the estimates are so hard to do, they're so inaccurate. But it's safe to say most sources say they kill anywhere from 5 to 30,000 people a year. Now for number 4 on our list, the Indian cobra, also known as the spectacled cobra. Absolutely stunning species of snake, and a species that plays a big role in Hindu and Indian culture. We're going to see a bit more here with Jeff Corwin, one of my favourite snake people. But yeah, a really big presence in snakebite epidemiology and in culture. So this is a really difficult one to unpick, why this snake causes so many bites.
In the Hindu religion, the cobra is known as Nag, and Nag is the symbol of Shiva, and Shiva is the god of destruction of nature. So, not only is the cobra a physically dangerous creature, it is a spiritually powerful being as well. This is why the cobra is taken into the home and treated as the most welcome guest. I love experiences like this, where not only do you have a chance to travel to an exotic place and learn about the wildlife that you find there, but you also get to witness just a little window into the culture that helps to make that land very rich. And in this case, we're in India, we're learning about the snakes, but we also have a chance to experience the relationship between people and snakes.
Often we get sort of railroaded by these generalizations that tell us elapids have broadly neurotoxic venom, whereas viperids have broadly hemotoxic or myotoxic venom. And that's not strictly true. Cobras, like the Indian cobra or the spectacled cobra, whichever you prefer, they do have a strong neurological component in their venom, but they also have components that cause lysis or cell breakdown. They can cause blistering, pain, swelling straight away. So they're not just a purely neurotoxic venom like you'd expect from your average elapid.
Look at that thing. We're 3 of the 4.
Wow, Jack, look at that.
That's a big Krait. This is a big and dangerous snake. If you find one in the daytime, they might be kind of calm, but at night, they are highly defensive, they're twitchy, they're unpredictable, and just a lot to deal with. Very strong neurotoxic bite. Be very bad news if we were bitten by one, especially here. But thankfully, just like any other snake, we just leave it alone and it's gonna be fine. And
The common Krait is a sneaky one. It's got very, very strong neurotoxic venom. So strong, in fact, that nerve damage can occur and your nerves might never recover. You can have lifelong problems following a bite. It's not just something that stops you breathing or stops your muscles moving, and then you recover. It's something that does long-term damage to your nerves. And it's a snake that's active at night. It occurs around human habitations. There's a lot of people in a lot of countries who sleep on the floor, not because they're living in poverty or anything like that, but because it's their culture, and a lot of people actually prefer to. I've actually been to some of these places where there's people with nice big wooden houses. They've got TVs, they've got mobile phones, but they just prefer sleeping on the floor. And the Kraits, they're active at night, they're foraging, they'll come up next to people while they're sleeping. You could literally roll over on one. And that neurotoxic venom can be quite subtle. The bite isn't very painful, there's not lots of swelling and blistering and stuff like that. It just sets in after a few hours and you'll have like massive stomach cramps and paralysis and stuff like that. And within 4 to 6 hours, maybe it could be fatal.
सर्प घरमा आयो भने भाग्य चम्किन्छ। वास्तवमा घरमा सर्प आउनु अशुभ होइन, शुभ मानिन्छ। जमिन मुनि पैसाहरू राखिएको छ। पुरातत्व
So this is the kind of thing it's important to understand to get the context of why Krait bites occur. They are looking for their prey, which is generally other snakes and stuff like that. And they're looking around human habitations. They're exploring all the nooks and crannies. This can lead to them getting under doors and, entering your house, basically. That was another interesting example of one in someone's moped. These are sticky situations really with a very, very deadly snake. It's no wonder it causes lots of fatalities each year. They're not shy of coming around human habitations and crawling into stuff. They're hunting, they're nocturnal, and they're just doing what they do, but it brings them into close contact with humans. Now, time to take a look at another snake, which is a massive problem in India, but it's not just found in India, it's a part of a complex of subspecies and species. People will disagree which ones are subspecies versus species, so I'm just going to treat it as one, the Russell's viper. This is a snake which has a very, very painful bite and does some very nasty stuff with its venom.
It's a predatory masterpiece, but what makes the Russell's viper so dangerous is its penchant for entering human settlements. Why? They're not malicious. They're just after rats.
The Russell's viper is in the Viperidae subfamily again of the Viperidae. So it's distantly related to what we call the Palearctic vipers, like the little adder we get here in the UK, but it's a lot bigger and it's got a much more potent and complex venom. It's broadly hemotoxic and nephrotoxic, from the word nephros, which is Greek, I believe, for kidney, so that's where you get the terms nephrotoxic and nephrology, for example. So you could end up on dialysis alongside tissue damage and shock and stuff like that. It's a very, very serious bite, and again, it occurs in a lot of densely habitated areas.
सम्भवतः यो कार्तिकको आज 4 गते यो अन्तिम केस हो सर्पले टोकेको यो वर्षको। अब सर्पले टोक्ने सिजन सक्यो र यो उहाँलाई चाहिँ यो सर्प हामीले चाहिँ पहिला देखाउने चाहिँ यो
that's the reality of the situation. It's important to see that, you know, I make these videos enjoyable, I want them to be fun and for us to learn, but this is quite a serious topic, and for that guy, you can guarantee it's serious. He's probably thinking about what is going to happen to his family if he can't work, for example. The added complexity here is that the Russell's Viper venom varies quite a lot by region. The anti-venom isn't perfect, even though it is reasonably effective. You know, there's a bit of a gamble there, even when you get treatment.
What, kind of the law movement?
Yeah.
Pressure.
They've got big fangs, big venom yield, very, very strong venom, and they can actually get a bit bigger than that one as well. The only mystery with the Russell's Viper for me is why their nostrils, or nares I should probably say, are so large. That is something that there's lots of hypotheses on, and I haven't really heard a satisfactory answer. So if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to try and grow it past 10,000 subscribers. I've just started channel memberships as well, and I'm going to try and make it into something more and more interesting if possible, and possibly do some other stuff like trips and stuff in the future. Now on to number 1 on the list, the saw-scaled viper. Like I say, the estimates on fatalities worldwide from snakebite by species are crap. You know, there's no way you can really tell how many people have died from snake bites in rural areas and areas which are in conflict or stuff like that, and areas where people are sort of mistrusting of medicine, for example, and prefer their own remedies. So I don't really like giving estimates. But anyway, sources say that this snake, again I'm treating it as one species even though it's several because they're very, very similar, is responsible for more snakebite deaths than any other on the planet.
Once again, the serpents reign supreme. According to the World Health Organization, snakebites cause up to a staggering 140,000 deaths worldwide every single year. Of the venomous snakes, the species responsible for the most human kills is the very observantly named saw-scaled viper. Found throughout northern Africa, the Middle East and India, the saw-scaled viper is thought to be responsible for more human deaths than all other snake species combined.
It's no surprise that the saw-scaled viper causes so many deaths. It occurs in a lot of rural areas, and its venom has some really horrible, horrible symptoms. It does stuff like give you blood in urine, it can give you hemorrhaging and internal fluid loss, it can cause sort of tissue damage and necrosis. I mean, all the bad stuff you can kind of think of from the viperid type venom, it has pretty much rolled into one. It can stop your blood coagulating, it can damage your kidneys, it can give you nosebleeds. It's just an awful, awful combination of things that it does, all in one little snake. I mean, you know, they're not even that big.
This is the saw-scaled viper, and it is rubbing its keeled scales together to create this sound. Now, these small snakes kill more people every year than basically any other snake. 4,000 to 5,000 in India a year alone.
Yes, that sound is called stridulation, which is a sound that comes from rubbing stuff together, just like a grasshopper does. It's a good warning sign, and egg-eating snakes actually have learned to copy this. I guarantee in the areas where they live, people probably recognize that sound.
Despite her deadly reputation, she has no idea what she's about to face. She walks right into the crosshairs of a saw-scaled viper. And only one is going to come out alive.
With those big eyes and the long fangs, you can tell it's a perfectly adapted nocturnal predator. And like I say, it's responsible for a lot of human deaths, but it's important to remember also the impact that this snake has on people, not just from deaths. You know, if you live somewhere and you work with your hands, you know, even if you live anywhere in the world and you work with your hands and you have a disfiguring or severe injury to a limb, that could put your family through significant hardship. I really hope you've enjoyed this video today, because I kind of wanted to separate fact from fiction a little bit. We know that there's the deadliest venoms, etc., and the word deadly gets thrown around a lot, but I just wanted to go over these snakes and let you know which snakes really are killing the most people in the world, rather than the ones in potential imaginary scenarios. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, I hope it's been interesting, and I really hope you'll come back next week for another one. Thank you very much.